Warning, the video that you are about to watch contains mentions of rape, sexual assault, and sexual abuse. Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals, my name is Panna. I'm going to be talking to you about something you've been seeing all over social media lately. The Melanie Martinez rape allegations made by Timothy Heller. Before I get started, I'd like to state I mean no harm and no disrespect to Timothy by making this video. Okay, let's get started. For those of you not familiar with Timothy Heller, she's a 24-year-old musician in LA and was a member of Dresses since 2013 until she went solo in 2017, releasing her single Sleep back in October. Melanie Martinez is a 22-year-old singer who got her start on The Voice and is most widely known for her first album, Crybaby, that debuted in August 2015. December 4th, Timothy released a story on her Twitter that threw everyone for a loop. If you haven't read it yet, I'll link it in the description. Summarized, Timothy came out to say that her ex-best friend, Melanie Martinez, raped her. Timothy initially was not going to say who it was, but found it important to let us know it was Melanie. Timothy tweeted that Melanie became interested in Timothy's sexual preferences, and as someone who had previously been through sexual abuse, sex was hard for her to talk about. Since she was her best friend, however, she tried to be open about it. Timothy states, "She began asking me while in bed if I would have sex with her." Timothy became uncomfortable by the conversation and quickly tried to laugh it off, as she had a boyfriend at this time and Melanie knew that. She claims that Melanie told her he doesn't have to know, it's not a big deal, and went on for hours asking why she wouldn't have sex with her and promising that it would be fun. I repeatedly said no. I had work in the morning, I just wanted to sleep, I was exhausted. I attempted to sleep but was kept up the entire night by my friend begging me to sleep with her, Timothy writes. I said no, I thought we could move on. The next night unfortunately went the exact same. According to Timothy, Melanie continued to not give up. She convinced me to smoke weed, and since I have a hard time saying no to her, I complied, Timothy states, hoping that her compliance to smoke weed would be enough to satisfy Melanie. Melanie, however, did not stop. I said no in every form I could think of, Timothy states. As Timothy started to fall asleep, Melanie began rubbing her arm. Not so long after, Melanie started asking to touch Timothy's boobs, bartering with her. Timothy was too exhausted to continue fighting Melanie. She says, "I was so exhausted and confused and high and belittled, I just allowed it to happen. This led to her touching the rest of me. I never said yes." She goes on to say, "Just so there is no confusion, I was molested by my best friend." Timothy claims she did not reciprocate at all. She laid there in shock, frozen. Melanie then went on to perform oral sex and penetrate Timothy with a sex toy without even asking her. Timothy says she said no for 2 nights straight. Melanie began to gaslight her friend and use the powers she had over Timothy to silence her. Gaslighting, by definition, is to manipulate someone by psychological means into questioning their own sanity. In Timothy's case, did her best friend really rape her? December 5th, Melanie responds with a tweet of her own, saying, "I am horrified and saddened by the statements and story told tonight by Timothy Heller, and claiming she never said no to what we chose to do together." I will link her full tweet in the description below. Now let's start by clarifying that there's 3 main forms of consent. There's consent, plain and simple. Both parties said yes and agreed to partake in sexual activities. Dubcon, or dubious consent. One party persuading, guilt-tripping, or otherwise manipulating the other party to partake in sexual acts or to let those happen. And non-consensual, non-con. One part flat out says no, and the other continues to commit sexual acts onto the unwilling part. The medical definition of rape is unlawful sexual activity and usually sexual intercourse carried out forcibly or under threat of injury against the will of usually a female or a person who is beneath a certain age or incapable of valid consent. It was rape. Timothy's story includes that it was against her will and that she was under the influence of weed to the point of impaired thinking. Legally, being under the influence means you cannot consent. So even if you would argue that Timothy didn't say no or that she stayed silent, legally it still is rape, as Timothy was under the influence and cannot legally consent. If you choose not to agree with the fact, here's my next argument. Melanie did not deny what happened. She only said she never said no to what we chose to do together. But here's the other part to that. Timothy never said yes. By definition, consent is when someone agrees, gives permission, or says yes to a sexual activity with another person. Silence does not mean yes. The only thing that means yes is yes. A lot of Melanie's fans say that they refuse to believe the truth, or that they don't want to. Just because you don't believe the truth doesn't mean it isn't true. You're still supporting a rapist. Some people claim that Timothy is doing this for attention, which I highly doubt. Timothy is a survivor of past sexual abuse and mental abuse. She of all people would know that rape isn't something you throw around lightly. Melanie also has more fame than she does, and also some pretty aggressive fans. Why would Timothy lie about all of this knowing there would be a backlash? Timothy, you are one brave chick. All of my love and support goes out to Timothy Heller and to all victims of sexual abuse, assault, and rape. Girls can rape girls, best friends can rape best friends. Friendship does not equal consent. Silence does not equal consent. Below in the description, I will place links to resources and hotlines for sex abuse victims. If you have ever been hurt or put into a situation like this, I am so sorry. I hope that you will recover and find happiness. Thank you for watching this video. There's a lot of bad people in this world. Find the good and be the good. Just a really quick update. As I was editing this and looking back at Twitter, I found that Maddie tweeted out that something similar happened between her and Mel, and I just think it's interesting. So I included the tweet here, and I'll also link it below in the description.